Well, last time I went normal for a review of a forgotten holiday gem. Now let's take a look at some trash to bring in the new year. New Year's Evil is a 1980 horror film produced by the Cannon Group. If you want to know who they are, well, if you've seen the Breaking films, Masters of the Universe, Highlander, Over the Top, Cobra, and Delta Force, then you know who the Cannon Group is. It's odd, there's been a ton of films based on holidays, but none based on New Year's Day. Unless you consider the Gary Marshall one a horror film, which would be understandable. New Year's Evil is a slasher film that follows a killer pestering a low-level female celebrity that waits until New Year's Day to start murdering people. How oddly long-ranging and specific. The film begins with Diane getting gussied up for her New Year's gig. She calls her friend Yvonne to find out where her husband is, and oh no. A black character is introduced within 2 minutes of the opening. This isn't gonna end well, is it? Wait, why didn't she lock the door? Okay, she's dead, but when did he get in? Also, how could he have gotten past her without her seeing him? Well, I guess that's not important. We segue to this scene of a group of people riding down the strip, then teasing a doorman.
Tickets. Tickets. Let's have your tickets. Tickets. Let's have your tickets.
Don't get excited.
Okay, and what was the point of that? Back in Diane's room, she meets up with her son Derek. How old is Derek supposed to be? Also, why did the filmmakers shoot this scene as if Derek is a jilted lover? Anyway, Diane leaves to host a New Year's party with a bunch of drunk 20-year-olds. She ends up receiving a phone call from someone calling themselves Evil.
So you got a name, Phantom?
Call me Evil.
Evil? You bad, honey?
No.
No, you can't be serious. Okay, before we go any further, question. Within the first 10 minutes, we see the killer's face, so why did the filmmakers decide to have him use a voice changer? Also, dear Diane, when someone sounds like Daffy Duck suffering from late stages of throat cancer and calls and tells you they're going to kill someone you love, don't just act like they're an annoying telemarketer. Okay, it does look like earlier was an act and Diane was really shook up by what happened and wants some police protection. What type of dance is this? The zombie dance? It's just people stumbling over each other. From that, we then segue to some loony bin where the killer sneaks in. A nurse starts her shift with a smoke. The killer convinces her that he's new there, and in less than a minute, they're having a drink. I'd question her intelligence, but based on how she's been acting, I say she gives about -45 fucks. He could have said that he was the killer and pop out a head from the bag and she would have just brushed it off and say, clean up after yourself. Wait, is it me or does he look like a cross between Carl Sagan and John Saxton? After Diane tries to get help from a snarky cop, her son Derek cautiously and creepily picks up the phone to answer her call. What was he doing with his other hand before she called? And do I really want to know? Ew. Afterwards, he pops some pills and starts to act real weird. Well, comparatively from before. We segue to the killer going to second base on the nurse. He pulls out a knife and they both climax as the ball drops. If you know what I mean. Question. I know we still have an hour to go, but why does he want to kill on midnight on New Year's? What if he's a few seconds off? We then go back to the party and witness the worst mosh pit ever. Evil calls back and tells Diane what he did. Also, just look at that lady on the right. She has that "you've gotta be kidding me" look on her face. I feel the same way, lady. What's wrong with Derek? Is that his mom's pantyhose? Did he just smell it? And now it's on his head? Why is this movie acting like he's the killer when we've already seen the face of the real killer? Red blood on white shoes? That's horrible. That's completely unacceptable after Labor Day. Okay, filmmaking question. What was the point of Evil calling in to say that he killed someone and tell them where and then show a random nurse finding the body? Wouldn't the nurse have called the police on it? It just feels redundant. Okay, I'm not the only one that's disturbed by the son's interest in his mother, am I? Let's count everything disturbing Derek's done so far in the film. Being far more into that kiss than he should have been, touching her pantyhose onto his lips, playing a very aggressive version of the she loves me not game. Is this list gonna grow by the end of the film? Over the next few minutes, we see Evil gives porn stash Ray, and the head cop gets a bit handsy while giving Diane the news about the dead nurse, which she was already given by the killer. It is interesting, the cop said that they looked all over the hotel for the killer and can't find him, but they still haven't found the body of her best friend. The film is acting as if that death didn't even happen or didn't matter. A while later, we see Evil and his mustache go to a club to scope out his next kill. Next, the cop, who looks like a Bobo Al Pacino, explains the killer's MO.
Now, when this guy says murder at midnight, he means midnight in each of the time zones all across the country.
Wait a minute. You trying to tell us that he's going to do this 3 more times?
Until we catch him.
You know, based on what the cop said, they could just not do anything. After all, it doesn't look like after tonight he'll kill anyone for another 364 more days. Needs of the many outweighs needs of the few, you know? It looks like Evil may get cock-blocked or have a chance at a 3-way, possibly. The cop points out that the killer is using a voice box. No way! Gee, what made you think that? Maybe because he sounds like Oscar the Grouch with tonsillitis? Evil has to make a stop and finally gets some alone time with what's-her-name. His last words to her had her breathless. Yeah, I agree, that was a terrible joke. After an odd interaction with a guy at a liquor store.
4, 95, and 5 makes 100. Thank you. And Happy New Year.
What's-her-name's friend follows her trail down a dark alley which leads to, well, you know. Here's a lesson for all you ladies out there. Never trust a guy with that ridiculous a mustache. For whatever reason, Evil calls Diane back and plays the death screams for her. She's not very appreciative. Question. After he gave the location of his recent kill, the cops just drive right past him. Why? Even if they don't know that's him, isn't it a bit weird to have a guy just stripping in the middle of the street? Cat scare. The cops just found the bodies. Okay, how did Evil time that body to go down that slide? Is it me, or is the main cop starting to resemble Roy Schneider more than Al Pacino? Okay, while searching for his next kill, a nun apparently, Evil accidentally runs over a member of a biker gang, which leads to a very slow chase. Man, I take everything I said back in the Friday Foster review now about their chasing. Anyway, Evil hides out in a drive-in theater only to make a run for it, kill another biker, and steals a couple's car. Question. How high was this girl? When Evil threw out her boyfriend out of the car, she just stayed in and tried to look decent. This is stupid because, 1, the guy's obviously nuts, and 2, you were already decent. You weren't showing any nipple. Believe me, I was looking. Well, luckily, he almost runs into a couple of drunk partiers and the girl makes her escape. Another question, if she's running for her life, then how is he able to keep up with her with only a slow trot? After the cops arrive, he runs away. Why didn't the cops go after him? There's a frightened woman hiding underneath a tower and a suspicious priest stalking her. Whatever. Meanwhile, at the party, the cops are putting the party on lockdown on orders of a one Dr. Reed. He just spouts the obvious.
We definitely have to consider and prepare for the one possibility that he'll be right here at midnight, Pacific Standard Time.
Why?
Because he has a compulsion to kill on the hour. It's a sequential drama.
Once the doc mentions that the killer has a mother fixation, they show Derek again. Real subtle movie. Okay, per the doc, Diane's gonna be the final kill. Evil hitchhikes to the hotel and tricks a dumb cop. Did he kill him? If so, did that count because he didn't kill a woman at 11 p.m. Mountain Time? So the cop at the lobby is just gonna let him in? He stared at him real hard for about 20 seconds. Man, these cops. I just remembered no one's found the black lady from earlier yet, right? Wasn't she Diane's friend? Wasn't Diane waiting for it to come back? So this movie is just gonna forget her? Fine. A cop escorts Diane to her room and he almost shoots Derek. Go ahead. Diane would give him something to do. Well, Derek runs off like a disgruntled lover. Seriously, what's going on here? You know it's not too late to shoot him, right? After Derek's little snit, Evil creeps out in the very bad jumpsuit and a horrible Richard Nixon mask. I think he creeps, and surprises Diane with a kiss. Wait, he's her husband? Okay, so her husband is the killer. At least that makes sense now why he used a voice changer. Finally, after 1 hour, Yvonne is finally mentioned to be missing. Why don't the cops just check her apartment? I think I understand why What's-His-Face wants to kill Diane. She's stupid, she's oblivious to those around her, and doesn't notice when her husband looks at her in disgust.
There's been nobody allowed in this hotel. I want to know how the hell you got in here.
Well, they called her agent, Ernie Moffat. He okayed it.
Is Sergeant Lewis?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Green. Listen, I want you to check out something from the lieutenant for me.
10-4, on my way.
You copy?
I'll contact you from the sky room.
Roger.
I can't believe it. After all this time, a cop is actually doing his job competently in this film. He's playing on a hunch and is suspicious of a suspicious character. Officer Green is officially the best character in this film. After an hour, the plot finally kicks into high gear. The husband hotwires the fuse box and his past has just been found out by the head cop. The husband, Evil, is a former mental patient. Evil makes the elevator that Officer Green and Diane is on plummet, and the fall unconvincingly knocks them out. Well, after Diane comes to, kinda, it's tough to tell. She might have a concussion or just be high. Evil comes out of the closet to her, so to speak. He plays the countdown and death screams. Over the next few minutes, he tells her how much he hates women and talks about what's going on with Derek and their marriage. Is really now the time to go into this? Why didn't you go into this way before this? A brief side note. I keep hearing a rattling sound. At first I thought it was just my copy of the film. Now I just think it might actually just be part of the soundtrack.
Hey, is everything okay?
Meanwhile, we spend a minute just looking at the cops searching and not finding anything. Evil finally sets up Diane to be killed via elevator. I gotta admit, this is a pretty inventive death trap and even has the first and probably last legitimate scare in it. Wait a minute, how did he get Yvonne's head there? And why is Yvonne white now? Okay, right before Diane is killed, the cops arrive interrupting Evil's fun. There's a shootout and Diane only lives because the cops miss Evil and hit the fuse box instead. So basically, the cops succeed because of their own ineptitude. Maybe we should just call them Dudleys after Dudley Do Right. Evil escapes to the top of the building and puts on a Richard Nixon mask. Why? I don't know. Everyone in this film knows what he looks like. The film climaxes with Richard quoting Hamlet.
To die, to sleep, no more. And by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to.
And then he jumps off the building. The movie ends with Diane being put in an ambulance and it being driven away by Derek, who just killed an EMS driver and is wearing the Richard Nixon mask that he took off of his father's corpse for some reason. What the hell was this? The director, Emmett Alston, also directed the films Demon Warp and Tiger Shark. The lead actress, Roz Kelly, is best known for playing Pinky Tuscadero, the Fonz's love interest for about 3 episodes on Happy Days. This was basically her last acting job for reasons. She was only in a couple more films and TV series since this, because she's had some really bad run-ins with the law. This was actor Grant Kramer who played Derek's first film role. He's acted off and on through the years. His most well-known film role would be from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. FYI, he's set to appear again in Return of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, whenever it's supposed to be released, which might be this year. He works more as a producer now on films such as End of Watch, Frozen Ground, Escape Plan, Two Guns, Lone Survivor, and The November Man. New Year's Evil was produced by Golden Globus. Oh, wait, so this is a Golden Globus production. Well, it's starting to make sense now. The schlocky and haphazard way the movie is one of their hallmarks. Now let me take a look and see if there's any pros to this, any positives. Sorry, I can't think of anything. Well, okay, maybe this can be considered a so bad it's good film. That's about it. As far as negatives, bad acting and bad acting choices. The continuity doesn't match up throughout the film. Useless characters, for instance, Derek. Unsympathetic characters, such as everyone except maybe Officer Green. I don't care about Diane or any of the victims. Plus, the cops seem incapable of doing their job. There were shades of Friday the 13th with the killer using a knife and with what I assume is supposed to be scary music, but it just seemed to be a parody off of the Jason theme. And I never found Jason's theme scary, and I just found this one even more silly. Also, the kills weren't interesting, but more important, there's a lack of blood. Oh, there are some, but this is an R-rated slasher film. What's worse is that no one died during this film's best set piece. The least you can do is show more slashing and blood. The son, Derek's role in the film was largely pointless until the end of the film. Even then, his greatest contribution was giving the killer some information off camera. I can't recommend this film. This film came out during the time when everyone was making slashers based on holidays. So the concept of making one for New Year's Day sounds good, but the writer and director didn't do anything interesting with it. Having the killer murder someone every hour, on the hour, or midnight in every time zone in the US is a good start, but then the kills should be more flamboyant than the last. If you want to see some better holiday themed horror films, try Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. There's no need to see the first one. Also, the way the film ended. It seems the filmmakers were trying to say, hey, for the sequel, Derek is going to be the killer. You know how Miss Voorhees was the killer in the first Friday the 13th and then Jason took over? Same here. Except there was never a sequel made. Even if there was, where would it go? Derek's mom is strapped in and she can't move. Derek's gonna kill the other medic, and 2 minutes later, Diane is gonna be dead too. The sequel will only be about 5 minutes long. Well, that's all I got for this time. Until next time, have a good day.
Son, you got a panty on your head.